Let's continue now to look at some of the other performance metrics or the other chart options that we have. Okay? Notice here that we can save our charts. So if we've got some information that is not only useful to us, but also might be useful to management in considering, oh, wow, I'm under contention and now I need more resources and here's the justification, hand them the chart, right? There's the little button on the right-hand side and we can export into PNG, JPEG, SVG, or CSV files. More chart options, let's look at objects and counters themselves. So the objects, what am I looking at? Am I looking at virtual machines? Am I looking at sockets? Am I looking at individual physical cores? Am I looking at vCPUs? Am I looking at network cards or HBAs? These are the different objects that we have. Okay, I can scroll back several slides here. Here are the objects. And the objects will depend on what chart metric we're looking at. I'm not going to see cores if I click on disk, right? I'm going to see individual disks in that case, or individual LUNs in that case. So because I've selected CPU up here, I get the individual cores, and then I also have the object itself, ESXi01, which is a summation, or actually is going to be based on this roll-up here, is going to be the aggregate, really, of all of the cores on that particular host. So let me go back forward here. Okay, so it's an individual instance or an aggregation of that instance. Then, once I've selected the objects I want to look at, I get to select which metrics I want to look at. We call these counters. Okay? When we look at CPU, there's a whole set of counters around CPU. When we look at memory, there's a whole set of counters around memory. Okay? So if I want to look at a VM that might be, or a host that might be under contention for memory, I'll click on the host, I'll get my memory swapped and memory ballooned, for example. Okay? Any presence of that is a good indication that I'm under contention for RAM. Now, when I look at these individual counters, they all have a type, a statistics type. Okay? They are either a rate, they are a delta, or an absolute value. A rate being a value over a current interval, 20-second, 1 day, 1 year. Okay? A delta is a change from the previous, or an absolute value just tells me what it is right now. What is my host uptime? How long is it right now? What is it right now? Okay? So here are some examples of those as well. Now, roll up. As I go from one time interval to another, what do I do with the actual statistic that I'm given? So, for example, if I'm looking at real-time statistics, I know that that is a value over the last 20 seconds. Is that an average value? Is it adding up all of the statistics that were collected over the last 20 seconds? Is it just the latest data point, like uptime would be? Is it a minimum over that interval, a maximum amount over that interval? Okay? So we do a little math as we transform from real time to past day to past week, month, and year. And this tells you what the math actually is. So that gives us an idea as how to build those performance charts. And when we come back, we're actually going to look at some of the most important metrics that we have to tell us about the health of our environment. We'll see you soon.